Hey, what's up YouTube, Skybadger here, and we're back on day 38 of the 100 player fan game series. I'm surprised the game made it to this point considering how close we were to ending it a few days ago. So if we have a look in the scoreboard, we can see that I'm sitting in 3rd place, just behind Rog, and then we're not really too close to King, who's in 1st place. We can also see that although we have a very similar size country to Pakistan, our economy is far inferior. And there is a good reason for this. If we have a look on the map here, we can see that this green section represents Pakistan, or Rog. And if we have a look, a lot of his land is in one area. But if we have a look at ourselves, we can see that we have some land down here in South Africa, North Africa, Europe, Russia, I guess, and North America. We're pretty spread out. And this goes to show the impact that morale has. Now, I'd like to say at this point, I could move my capital, and I could move it to somewhere up in the north, so up on the Mediterranean would be a good spot, up here, but I don't want to do it just for symbolism, I guess. I kind of want to keep it where it is. Like, I mean, end of the game, there's not much point moving it, but if I wanted to fix the problem, that would be a good first step in the right direction. So to remedy that, without having to move my capital, what I am doing is I'm building a load of fortifications instead. And all these fortifications do is increase morale, and that will have an effect on the land around it as well. So you notice too that these are in food producing provinces, and that's for a good reason. As you notice, I'm still negative in food, and I've started doing stuff today that's only going to make that worse. So although we have brought that down from negative 600, we still aren't quite there yet. There's definitely some stuff I can do to resolve it and make it even lighter, and I'm working on that at the moment. As you would have also seen in there, I'm working on a load of infrastructure as well. So hopefully that will fix itself over the next few days. So when we left off, we were talking about our allies attacking Lord Kek, and well, the Australians beat them to it. The Australians went in first, and they took a bit of a hammering, and then our allies went in. King Congo has taken most of this land up here in the Middle East, what was Saudi Arabia. And as you can see here, we've now attacked. Now, we were going to stay out of this, and we were going to stay neutral, but Kek has asked me to take his land, so I'll honor that. Oh, I should have probably done something about that. Don't leave your planes patrolling. That's close, guys. One more minute, and I would have lost or taken damage. So let's just send those aircraft to patrol somewhere else. So, as I was saying, Lord Kek wanted me to have his land instead of the Australians, so that's what I'm doing. I'm going to take his land for him, because at least then, I guess, I'm in control. Anyway, that's what's happening. So, basically, to do that, what I've done is I'm setting up my light tanks to basically make, I guess, a firewall. A wall of territory that our enemy or ally can't cross. So, that's what my light tanks do at the moment. You can see this one here is moving down to here to capture up to here, and this one's moving up to here. And what that will do is that will stop the Australians from advancing that way, because I currently don't have right of way with any of them. Western Australia did the right thing in this situation and has sent a request for right of way, but I'm going to ignore it purely because I don't want them to get the land. So under normal circumstances, Western Australia did the right thing, but if he knew my true motivation, he might probably go in for the attack. But even then, under the circumstances of this game, that isn't worth it, considering how hard he'd get hit back. He'd win the first few days, even maybe week, but after that, he'd lose in the long term. So that's what we're doing at the moment. We're creating a wall to stop the Australians from moving further west, I guess. And that's going to give us time for the few troops we do have in the region that we're stationed down here to capture land. And how we're going to finish this off is we're going to try to capture as much land before the next day change as possible, and then at the next day change we're going to capture the capital, and that will secure the land that we have captured. So at this point we're going for big cities and trying to claim as much territory as we can within the next 16 hours. So that's what we're up to at the moment. I'm moving this group into the region at the moment to bomb out places like this. But the issue is there's still a few subs in the region. Lord Keck had a line of subs that spanned from this point here all the way down to here. I know the Australians hit one today because I saw them, and that hit them pretty hard. So you've got to watch out for those sort of things, and we have to be careful that we don't hit them ourselves. Obviously, with this sort of battle group configuration, we're not going to take too much damage from hitting a group like that, but we still have to be careful. So I am aware that there is a submarine right here, and that there is a submarine here, Australians hit one here, then there's another here, here, and here, I'm pretty sure. So as long as they don't move, we're pretty good in that respect. So the sort of attack style I've gone for today is just a simple raid. This sort of tactic you can use if you're behind enemy lines, and is really the only time you want to use it. This sort of attack style is impractical if you're going up against a new opponent and you don't have troops behind the lines. All I've done is I've separated my troops out to get maximum amount of land as fast as possible. And this is the sort of thing you do if you knew your opponent was going to be offline between, say, a certain time and another certain time. If you knew they're going to be offline then, this is the sort of time when you do this sort of attack. Now, I know Lord Keck is not going to fight me because he wants me to get his land, but had that been the case, what you do is you just regroup and fall back during that time. Germany also attacked Man, and he has taken a lot of casualties, but he also able to temporarily capture Man's capital, and that will have a massive effect on Man's resource production, and I bet it hit him pretty hard. So if we have a look at what's happening, we can see that Germany does not have too many troops left, and this was his last stand. He justified it as getting revenge for Man not helping him earlier on when he needed it, and I'd say he's done a pretty good job of that. He's wrecked quite a few of Man's industrial centers. If we zoom in and we have a look, we can see that that's now down to level 4. He broke a nuclear reactor. That's going to be expensive to fix. Wrecked a few barracks, done a number on production sites. So I think although Germany was hoping to retain land, he has still done quite a bit of damage. Although that did not stop Man from attacking Lord Keck. As we can see here, Lord Keck is still on the retreat, and Man and the Australians are still pushing forwards. Hopefully though, our little firewall we are erecting up here will be enough to stop the Australians' march and allow at least us or Pakistan to get the land. So I am surprised that Pakistan hasn't marched anything yet. He seems to be inactive at the moment. He may have been expecting the game to settle down and has decreased his amount of activity. I figured he'd be the first person to jump in on this attack, and I'm surprised he hasn't jumped in yet. If we have a look at what Pakistan's got at the moment, he's got a lot of railguns and a lot of long-range artillery. If we have a look at this sort of configuration here, we can see that it is slowed down and is really dependent on the railroad artillery, and this makes it quite weak in fact. So in the future, if it ever is a problem, a few rockets to the face will be a good way to deal with this sort of group. Ideally, if you want to use railguns, you need to have them separated from your main forces. The railgun is the slowest unit in the game, although it did get a speed increase with the buffs a couple of months back. We can see that it still only travels at 12 kilometers per hour on planes. Militia can do 15, which still sucks, guys. Militia sucks, but 12 is incredibly slow, especially when you have it paired with fast units like light tanks and SBAA. So for this sort of group here, you probably want to separate the railroad guns from the rest of the troops. So that's what's happening at the moment. There's not really much else to say. The Australians are all busy here and everyone's really focusing in on this area, so there's no point going anywhere else in the world. So I'm going to end the episode here, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.